Hello and welcome to 2026, by about a month late. To start things off with my first video of the year, I wanted to share this painting of Hedorah that my 6-year-old son painted for me. See the resemblance here. Now proudly displayed in my review station. But the real reason you are here is this guy. Yes, the recent winner of the next Bandai Movie Monster Series fan figure vote from 2024, who made his debut in Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. And a winner he is. Probably not at the top of anyone's list for most famous Godzilla foe, the Giant Condor made his debut in 1966 Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, where he shows up randomly to terrorize the Infinite Island castaway Dio, before irritating Godzilla, who just wanted to sleep. The short sequence features the poorly executed puppet taking on Godzilla with pecking, vigorous flapping, squawking, punching, and crashing to the ground. It all ends comically with Godzilla torching the shit out of the buzzard, sending the now Thanksgiving turkey into the sea. Godzilla should have led with that move. Bitch. This scene made the Giant Condor one of Godzilla's most laughable opponents, a meme before there were memes, and as a result, was granted an overwhelming number of votes over some really good entries when Bandai announced their fan vote on Godzilla Day in 2024. Am I mad? Hell no. First, I love Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, so any figure from that film is a win. Also, this opens the possibility of more obscure and bottom-of-the-barrel vinyls. I already hear the community crying out for the Skeleturtle from Infinite Island, all while I pray for the giant sea snake from King Kong Escapes. So, without much further ado, let us take to the air and breathe in the majesty of Okondoru. Take a time machine and go back to the late 70s or the early 80s and tell my 5-year-old self that one day I will have an amazing collection of Godzilla monsters from the films I've seen and many others when I am a day away from 52 years old. Now, while I am convinced and near tears of joy, tell me that Giant Condor will be one of them, completely destroying my illusion that this revelation would be real. But alas, he is real and I have him. How could I not get him? And I don't think anything could be done to get us a better version, save for some minor nitpicks. I'll start with his color palette. Molded in what appears to be a rust brown vinyl, Okondoru reflects his on-screen likeness fairly well in terms of his base color, which encompasses his main body and outstretched wings. A pale milk chocolate application is used for the big bird's noggin and collar, a nice choice in terms of reflecting sculpt details. Not sure how accurate this choice is, since most still shots showcase very little close-ups of the head. The same color is applied to his bunched-up talons. The lower feathers on each outstretched wing features a lighter, vibrant rust color to give some variance. And turning back to the face, his eyes are painted piercingly with white and tiny, beady black pupils. It's weird to see a small, fairly insignificant kaiju get a variety of paint apps, as some of the more prominent ones don't. Truly, this buzzard is getting the star treatment. When it comes to overall sculpt, this bird has got details for miles. Starting with the feathers, each individual feather is textured. Even the tail, if you zoom in on there, you can see, look at all the little tiny line work that they put into each feather, giving every strand of fiber in each one of those is just dumbfounding to me because, again, this is not really a huge piece, but they managed to work in, oh, look at those little tiny feathers on his back, almost like scales, these larger feathers, and even you get the fluffy tufter on his neck. It's pretty impressive overall. Turning it around, you get a little bit of the smaller feathering on the chest, you get the nice gnarled knuckles of his talons, even the little claws, they're already like carved in there, nice and pointy, and it's just, look at this, look at the little feather detail on his head, and then it stops in that shiny beak end. I really love it, and they managed to capture the scowl of this evil condor right down to the furrowed brow. It's a great sculpt. Not really a surprise to anyone, given the size of this vinyl, Giant Condor is a static figurine. Yes, there are glue seams on the wings, as well as the collar where the fluffy feather mess exists, but nothing posable. Just a whole bunch of foolery. Starting off with the theme of Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, I can only use the Godzilla 1965 posing version from Monster Zero. Essentially the same suit used for the movie that would follow. He'll have to do until the standard 65-66 version is widely released. And here they are together looking pretty good, despite its small size. Okondoru is still a bit too big versus his on-screen prop. Then even if this Godzilla is from the wrong film, the rocky stand is still useful to mimic the Condor crashing on the cliff before taking a dive in deep. But man, do I love the two of them squaring off face to face. Ebirah, the main antagonist of the film, feels like he shares the same DNA when it comes to sculpt. Both feel related just by the level of detail, and it makes me wonder if the whole versus the Sea Monster cast was sculpted en masse by the same modeler. Again, the Giant Condor is smaller than his crustacean co-villain, and both would have had better chances against Toho Kong if history went differently. Needless to say, the idea of getting a Mothra from this film would be spectacular, which leads us to the final comparison. Tokyo SOS Mothra is my cheap vinyl. It makes for a great stand-in for a Showa imago, both in scale and colors. However, if I was adhering to total accuracy, this big butterfly would look pretty ratty by the time the film hit the screens. Anyways, the Kaiju Queen would dwarf the Giant Condor in a match, likely sending it back into the sea again. So that pretty much covers the winning choice from 2024's fan poll. Despite a slightly underwhelming legacy of Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster and stock footage from Godzilla's Revenge, is this bird the top of the pecking order, or will Jet Jaguar knock him down a few pegs? Three punches. That's being generous to some degree, especially when measured against the figures he could have had in its place. Giant Condor isn't a terrible figure by any means, but isn't terribly exciting at the same time. A smaller scale kaiju that is nothing more than a megafauna in brown hues will not steal the show on your shelf, outside of a quick chuckle from the real ones who know. You'll likely want to stand to display this guy, which warrants additional money spent. He lacks any articulation, and even makes Ebirah look threatening by comparison. The sheer novelty of owning this obscurity is the main draw, with very little else to motivate you. Yeah, you really need to be a deep-cut Denzian of the Showa era to need this. While the price isn't outlandish comparatively, it also is going to be hard to justify for some of you out there. I personally like this guy, but I also recognize he will not be everyone's cup of tea. What do you think? Are you going to purchase Okondoru? Do you have him? What do you rate him? Would you like to see more oddities like this in the Movie Monster Series line? Sound off below in the comments. Like and share my content, please. And if you are not a subscriber, please join us. I've recently hit 500 subs, which isn't much by most YouTubers, but for me, I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for liking, sharing, and viewing my content. I'll be back for more.